is a project that he was one of the first contributors to. Yonatan is an egghead instructor. He used to be also used to be a neuroscientist. So get excited. Yonatan is smart. Really cool project too. I've checked it out myself. So enjoy the demo. Thanks, Yonatan.
Thank you, Avital. Thank you, Michal and Tal. Great talks. So now I have to stand in some standards that you've set. So evening, everyone. As Avital said, I'm Yonatan. I'm a developer at Vonage. I want to introduce you to a project that I've been contributing to in the last month. It's called AskQL. QL stands for Query Language, and it was invented by really smart people from Warsaw, which is a group of people that my romance with them started about 2 years ago. I've met them in a conference in London, and ever since then we were meeting each other in various places. And they came to me in the summer and they told me, we're going to launch some new open source project. And I was hooked because it looked like a very powerful technology. And I actually started using it a bit at home, not in something production, but it hooked me up. I mean, the simplicity of it, and I'll show you a demo very soon. But let me tell you a bit about it, what it does. So if you know what REST API is, like when you have a client that sends some call to a server, and you can query a list of users, for instance, or any list for that matter. So the client sends a message, give me a list of users, it gets the list back. But if for every user that you get, you need to get the friends of that user. So for every user, you need to request the friends of this user. So you get a lot of requests coming out of the client asking for that user. And if for every friend, you have to ask more data. So in order to enrich the data, you have to send a lot of REST requests to the server until you get the whole data back. And then things might get a bit cranky or, overload the server, and it's slow, and you have to handle all of these requests and gather all the data, and it's a lot of effort. What SQL does, it allows you to, in one request, to get all the data you need in the enrichment level that you need. For instance, in one request, you get all the users with their friends and the initial data if you need it. Okay, and how it's doing it, I'll show you in a second. But some of you might ask themselves, what about GraphQL? Okay, and GraphQL is actually solving the same issue, only here we're actually sending a script, because SQL is also a programming language. And if you can see, that's what we're sending to the server. I'm actually sending the script that we wanted to run in the client. We're sending it to the server, and we actually get all the data enriched as we want. So let's see examples now. We go to demo time. So I prepared a small demo with a client that can send messages to the server. Here's the server. It's running. It's a simple Express server that runs an Ask middleware. Okay, the Ask middleware, what it does, it turns on an Ask virtual machine. I'm just getting into some stuff here, but it does a lot of things for you, and it gets the code that I'm sending, the Ask code or Ask script, and parses it. So if I send a string of hello world, I just get it. Okay, and if I'm sending, I can send an application that does 1 + 1, and I get 2. Okay, and you can actually see the response. It turns into Ask code and translated into what we want. But I also have resources on my server. If you can see, let's see, resources. These are the resources I have on my server. And you can see that I have some values. I have a names array, and powers array. So I can actually access them from the client. I can access the names, and I can access the powers. And so far, it's not too impressive, right? But we can actually do something like that. We can say for let, because it's a programming language, I could just program. So I say names and sorry, smaller name length. I hope I got it right. And I equals I plus 1. This is a really simple software because what I want to do is return all the names. Let's see. Okay, so I got a working script here. It's supposed to work. Okay, sorry. But I can actually make this request and get an array the way I wanted to. Okay, I can combine these two resources from client. And there's no code on the server that does that for me. So the server-side people didn't have to write this code. So I won't try to do something stupid again, but let's try to do something more impressive. For instance, let's say we created a new microservice in our application. The server that's running SQL or API endpoint doesn't know. The team that works on it did not update anything. They don't even know there's a new server, but it is open for access. So for instance, I can ask the server to fetch data from this remote server, and I get the data from Star Wars API. And I could do even more than that because I can change the data. If you noticed, for instance, hair color has this dash and I don't want to get it. I want the client to just show me hair color like this. So, and I don't need the rest of the data. I just need name, gender, and hair color. So I submit and I get exactly what I want, hopefully. Yeah, okay. So I get, it's a bit slow because the response took some time, but eventually it got the results and it gave me exactly what I wanted. And there's a lot of, as you can see, there's this function map, for instance. So it's exactly as if you were programming, if you're a JavaScript developer, for instance, it would be very familiar. So instead of a dot, you'll have these, but it should be very familiar for you. And it's very powerful because it allows you to actually send any query, and the actually server side doesn't really need to know what you want, just need to expose some resources as I've exposed here, for instance. So this is a really cool project, and it has a lot of, this technology has a lot of power, and I believe it's the next step in query language evolution. If you've been doing REST, if you've been doing GraphQL, this is going to be like the next step. This is why I'm very thrilled about this project. So if we summarize, this is a new query language, as I've said, and you can see that it is a programming language because it can actually send scripts. It reduces the server-client data coupling because the server doesn't really need to know what the client needs exactly. It just needs to expose stuff, and the client requests what he wants. Currently, there are 23 contributors, but we're hiring to the project, and maybe you'll be next. So I truly hope so. By the way, while working on this demo, there was no map resource. I couldn't do like array map, and it kind of annoyed me. So I created a pull request. It was accepted, and now you can see it's part of the library. So currently, it's a project that has a lot of what to contribute to, both in documentation and code, and of course, CI or whatever you feel comfortable with. And I'll be happy to see you there. So thank you.
Thank you, Yonatan. It's really cool that you can be working on something and see something wrong with it and make that change. So here's to being the change we want to see in the world, everybody. Thank you, Liran. Thank you, Michal.